Okay. Start the meeting. Welcome to the planning board meeting, for January 27th, 2026. We'll take roll call. Mr. Abrams?
Present.
Here. Mr. Costanza? Absent. Ms. Hoffman?
Present.
Mr. Rivera?
Here.
Here. Ms. Simmons Hurling?
Present.
Present. And Mr. Stampatopoulos? Absent. And Mr. Sullivan?
Present.
Present. Okay. First order of business is a public hearing. This is respect to a request to a repetition to the Zoning Board of Appeals by Attorney Joe Catogio for variances necessary to petition the City Council for a 28-unit plan unit development at 1822 Green Street within the TED zoning district.
Members of the Planning Board, Joseph Catogio, 1 Sprague Street, Revere, representing the applicant Tricillo Development in their request for the Planning Board to approve a repetition to the Zoning Board of Appeals. My apologies for dragging you out tonight. I didn't realize we would be the only item on the agenda. I can also say that my client, Joseph Tricillo, could not be here tonight because of a death in the family, but I'm hoping that I can make the presentation sufficient enough and answer any questions you have. The application overall is for a apartment complex on Green Street, 18-22 Green Street. There are 2 house lots that are being purchased that will be removed, and this project is intended to go forward there. The variances that were initially sought were for total square footage, parking, and for open use, the percentage for open use. We were denied at our initial application for the zoning board, despite the ward councilor, the previous ward councilor, and the current ward councilor speaking in favor. We took a step back and addressed what we could based on the concerns of the ZBA. Now, we couldn't do anything about the total square footage of the lot. That's fixed. But we did address and made a material change on the open air, the open space, by adding a 1,000 square foot roof deck onto the plan. We also addressed the parking situation by lowering the number of units. We initially had a 40-unit application to site plan review. That was reduced to 29 units to the ZBA, and we've reduced it further to 28 units coming and seeking the repetition. We've repositioned the total building further off of Green Street because there was a concern that Green Street is a very thin street. We gave as much open space as we could to the front of the building. We also shaved an area in the back to make it more attractive to those who are facing us in the rear. Another change we made is to stagger the floors so that not all 5 stories are faced straight up and down, and that led to the roof deck as well. Now, the application that went forward had a number of concessions that were given to the city that we negotiated with the ward councilors, which included improvements to the immediate area, water, sewer, fire hydrant, flow tests, but also to Ward 1 in general. There were large amount of trees that were going to be contributing that would be distributed to the throughout the ward as the ward councilor sees fit. So we believe we've made a number of material changes. We hope that the planning board sees that and that we can repetition the ZBA. We believe we've addressed their concerns and hope that we can go forward with this tonight.
I'll just state that the State Zoning Act, Chapter 48, is pretty specific in terms of allowing repetitions to the Zoning Board of Appeals. It needs to gain unanimous consent from the Planning Board that there has been a specific material change in the plan. So it's up to the Planning Board to make the determination, was there a significant material change? And as Attorney Catogio stated, there have been changes, including repositioning the building, setting it back more from the street line, reducing the number of units to 28 units from 29. So it's simple. I think it's been before the planning board before, a number of repetitions where they just had to show a change, and gives them an attempt to go back to the ZBA and have another public hearing, and it's up to the ZBA to make a final determination. So that's where it is. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So I know that the plan also initially spoke of 3 affordable housing units.
I'm glad you said that, because I did,
Okay.
that will absolutely remain as a condition. We would expect that to be a condition issued at the ZBA when the site plan sets forth its recommendations, and also from the city council. We made that representation, and we'll stay with that. 3 units will be affordable, yes.
Was it any changes on parking?
We couldn't change the number of parking, but the ratio is more favorable because of the reduction in the amount of units.
I have another question.
Yes,
Are these one-bedroom units or more than one?
one bedroom,
One-bedroom units.
yes. Yeah, we're looking to take advantage of public transportation, which is pretty much the direction of the city, and we wanted to be in line with that.
Just a point of clarification.
No, I was going to say, I know that approvals of these types also come with restrictions on city parking availability, and we would expect that as well. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to clarify, was it reduced from 40 to 28 from the last time, or 29 to 28?
The initial application that we brought to site plan review had 40 units proposed. When we went to the zoning board, after we had met a number of times with the ward counselor, Ward 1 had an old and a new, and Councilor McKenna is still a council, but now at large. We met with both of them a number of times, and through their recommendations, we reduced it to 29. We have since the denial, reduced it again.
Okay.
So that's the process of that.
Has the Green Street overlay change impacted this at all? So, because it's been a little while since you've come in front of the planning board, since the Green Street overlay has taken effect. And it wasn't a factor back before when the plan initially came up.
I don't have an answer for that, I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
right, but the Green Street overlay wasn't a thing then, when the plan initially came up.
Yeah,
Yes, that's my question also. I believe in the former Lee's Trailer Park, we just changed some zoning there for battery storage. And I'm looking at the lot lines here. It appears, and I could be wrong, you know buffers better than I do, Frank. Is there a buffer in the back, or is the garage right next to this battery storage place?
I'm not sure about
The
that.
battery storage facility, there's a requirement that we have in the ordinance that we prepared for that of a 20-foot buffer zone.
From the battery
Yeah,
parcel, or from the neighboring new
No,
parcels?
From the lot line of the battery parcel, 20 feet of landscape buffer.
They're gonna have a
Yeah.
20-foot. But
Yeah.
what about new projects abutting the battery? Does he have a setback in the back?
Well, he doesn't have one. That's why he's going for,
So he's on the lot line?
basically, yeah.
I believe in the rear, we did shave a small area off, so we are not directly on the lot line, but it's not a large setback.
I'm looking at the page you gave me, which is A101, and there is a black line in the back of the garage. even though you show a buffer on the sides, you do not have a buffer in the back.
It's- The red dash line, I believe,
Yes.
is the property line.
I have one that was submitted to the members and one that passed out here. So, and when you go to A102, that's the apartment. So the garage bumps out. I can't see how many feet, but it appears to be another 5 or 10 feet. It bumps out from the second and third and fourth, and if that's a fifth story.
You are correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. It's
Yes.
basically, the garage is basically on the property line.
And if I do work in some other cities, not to be critical of Revere, I look up the address, gives the address, whatever it is, Mass Ave, and you can find out what permits or what was submitted. And I may be wrong, and that's why I'm asking the council if I am wrong, just point me out. In order for me to look up whatever was presented by you, such as the 40 units,
Yes.
I need a parcel number. You know, I've lived in Revere all my life. I still don't know what my parcel number is, but you need a parcel number before you look up an address. And then you have, so it's a little difficult, but I do have something here from October 16th, 2025, and then December 31st, 2025, but I don't see 40 units. Where is this 40 units you're talking about?
There was an initial application to site plan review that was made.
But in order to have site plan review, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In order to have site plan review, don't you have to submit plans to the building department?
No. You
On the
submit them to
portal.
Site plan review committee.
Yes, just the site plan.
Could be preliminary plans.
So what happened to those 40 unit plans? Where are they? Did the building department see them, or
No, there
they
were,
was-
did the council see the
If
40
they were
units?
submitted, I would have them on Citizen Serve as part of the site plan review submission.
I don't have them. I couldn't find them.
You wouldn't have access to that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So where, do you have the 40 units?
I'll have to go,
when we initially, the process that we had to follow, everybody has to follow, is an initial online application to site plan review. That's where those plans were submitted. From that meeting, there were, obviously, we were denied, and we were, gave, direction to go to the zoning board. When we made applications to the zoning board, we did so after meetings with the ward counselor and the counselors, and we reduced it because of their concerns. So we didn't want to lose time. We submitted to the ZBA the 29-unit application.
What date was the 40 units, Counselor?
I don't have that. It was the very first, if there's a denial letter in there. But it would all be on the portal application that we make. I don't know if I have a copy of them. But again, they're not relevant now because we're not looking for 40 units at any means.
I believe that has to
Yeah.
do with the significant change and why you're back to the board. If you apply for something and you say, well, I'm gonna take off 1 unit, I don't think that's a significant change in my view, and I could be wrong. But if you go from 40 units to now you're down to 28, that could be a significant change. But I'm looking, I'm looking at, how did you get 40 units in here? That's what I'm
We,
trying to figure out.
we would suggest that the significant change is the cumulative of all of the changes that we've proposed, not just the 1-unit reduction. That we would be hopeful that that
How
would be.
many stories was the 40 unit, Counselor?
I believe it was one additional. Again, I don't have those with me because we've moved on from there.
So if you have 28 units now, you had 29, you took one off, and you're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories right now,
Yes.
you're adding another 47%. And all on one story? Where is the other 20 units?
Again, I don't have those here. That's not what
I
we're.
mean, if you have 28
presenting.
units,
12,
excuse me? 12 what?
12 more. It would be 12 more rather than.
I'm sorry, yeah, I'm sorry, 12. That's why I make a mistake, thank you. So if you have, how many units per floor do you have on here?
Now I believe there are 4 sevens.
So I'm looking at this one, which is A102, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you need another 2, maybe 3 stories for 40 units?
There are, yeah,
So you had an 8-story building?
no, we did not have an 8-story building.
Do you reduce the size of the units in order to?
I know that there was a repositioning in order to account for the move in the building. There was also a reduction to reduce the number of units, and to add the roof deck. So yeah, but I don't have those plans. They were abandoned a while ago.
Yeah, you can't count the 40 units in the request for a specific change, because that's not what he submitted to the ZBA. It may have
That's
been a
what he wrote in
preliminary
his
plan,
letter,
he
though,
submitted a
Frank.
site plan that was denied.
He's writing the letter, and he cites the 40 units as a significant change. That's how I read his letter further in the petition.
Yeah, well, he can't do that. That's not,
That's what he
yeah,
wrote.
yeah. No, they have to go by what was submitted. If 29 units was submitted and he's reducing it to 28, that's the change, the reduction of 1 unit, the elimination of 1 unit, and setting the building back, what is it, 5 feet
5 feet.
from the property
For-
line in the front?
to allow for the concern over Green Street and the addition of the roof deck to address the open air ratio. And the reduction also addresses, made the parking ratio more favorable to the city as well.
But the original proposal, was it 40 units in front of the ZVA or?
No, by the time it went to ZBA, it was 29 units, yes.
So I know the street is very narrow. When it comes to the trash pickup, are you planning on using regular size truck or?
That, I don't, I would imagine that those particulars would be worked out, both at ZBA, but more primarily with the city council and the special permit, which will have specific conditions on not only trash pickup, but transponders and fire hydrants and water line and sewer line contributions and improvements, all of that. We would expect as conditions to come back, not only from site plan review with their recommendations, but also from the city council. The ward council was very involved with the naming of the conditions that we initially had agreed to. So anything else, we would be working with the ward councilor and the building department and everybody else right on down the line.
Was the staggered layout present in the 29-unit application as well, or is that new to this?
It's more prevalent because of the roof deck now. So we had talked about moving it because there was a concern over the shadows. So we had talked about that at the ZBA, but it is now more prominent because of the roof deck.
Can you speak to how the shadow is different now?
Well, because the number of units are reduced, the top floor is, it used to be, from what you're looking at now, I can show, this was like an earlier
That whole area.
condition. You can see it's straight up and down, almost like a box. So the shadows would be lessened by the degree of the change on the top floors.
Excuse me, Frank, just for a point of information, is Lee's Trailer Park or this area by Green and as you go towards Suffolk Downs, is that a flood zone area or a tidal basin area?
Well, the FEMA made changes to the 100-year flood plain map. There were revisions that took a portion of that area out of it. So the back end of this property is still in it.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
FEMA made revisions this past year, which took a considerable amount of that site out of the 100-year floodplain, but still, a portion of the back of that site is still within the 100-year floodplain.
Which site we talking about? His site?
We're talking about the trailer park
The
site.
trailer park?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe we're in a floodplain, or in the
They're
flood
not-
zone.
They're out of it.
And is there we were just comparing notes, is there a reason why they didn't want to do any kind of garage underneath the ground or below grade?
I would have to talk to the engineers, but I don't think that was really viable to dig down further. I know the foundation, there'd be, but I would think that the engineers took all of that into consideration when they devised the plan.
I mean, the water table must be high there.
That's
That's
what I
all.
was thinking,
Yeah,
Well, I think there's something going on in Green Street. I saw new curbings and granite curbings. I
Yeah,
know.
as a result of the project across the street, which was issued a plan unit development special permit.
That
they-
applies to both sides or one side?
Just that side.
The development across the street?
Yeah, they had their parking at the end of Green Street,
Okay.
but there were no sidewalks for pedestrians, the residents of the building to get safely to the parking lot. So we required them to put in sidewalks on that side.
Is he showing a sidewalk on A101?
only a walkway. We were told, because we discussed sidewalks, and we said that, we would obviously be willing to do what we had to do, but the parties that reviewed it said it wasn't workable to have a sidewalk on both sides because of the width of the street. So they did not require us to have a sidewalk. They instead had us contribute to water line improvements, sewer line improvements, the placement of a fire hydrant, and to participate in assisting the other project with their sidewalk installation.
So it says new street lamp, but there's a double line there. Is that a curb or, I don't know, it's not identified. I don't know what it is.
I know that they did not want sidewalks on our side.
Don't they park on your side? Don't they don't they sidewalk park?
The houses may now, but there wouldn't be, when we're there, there won't be anybody to park there.
With that district in the parking, they're not allowed to park on that side of the street.
Really?
What's allowed, what's enforced?
Okay, all right. That's most of my, the only other thing I'm thinking about is the battery proposal that was
Yeah,
recently.
that's been nixed. They backed out of their
Oh, they
proposal.
backed out?
Yeah,
So it's still zoned for that?
yeah.
Is anybody else
Well,
looking at that, or is that?
Fortunately,
gone?
the Dover Amendment now protects these battery storage facilities. The Dover Amendment, which protects solar power, now they've included these battery storage as protected under the Dover Amendment. So,
Are windmills in that amendment
yeah,
also?
Anything related to energy, yeah. So,
So we still have to look at the Chelsea windmill?
yeah. So unfortunately, the owner of the property is looking for another use. And there has been a proposal now that's going before the city council for a special permit for automobile storage for rental cars. About 50 rental cars on that property, if they get the special permit from the city council.
Will that be,
So the residential development is off the table, the battery storage development is off the table. So the owners are looking for alternative uses for the property.
I have one more question. So there will not be any parking in front of the building, right?
No.
How many parking spaces is in the proposal?
I gave out all my plans.
20? So it's 28 units, but only 20 parking spaces.
Yeah, that's correct, yes.
So if they get as far as to city council, and the city council does issue a special permit, there's a condition that site plan review puts in, as well as the city council, that he can only lease units to the number of parking spaces there are, people who own automobiles. So if there are 20 spaces, there are 9 units of residents that can't have any parking at all.
There would be lease restrictions
Yeah.
that are implemented.
And under our parking, resident parking sticker program, developments that receive either special permits or variances for parking are not eligible for stickers under the program.
Right.
So the residents would not be able to park on city streets, which means they can't own a car.
Right.
If you're gonna rent here, you can't have a car.
Just a point of clarification, I think I know the answer, but there are continuous sidewalks from this property to the MBTA Beachmont Station, as well as Target, that shopping center. You can walk there without having to cross any major roads or anything like that.
I believe that's the case, yes.
Yeah, okay.
This is supposed to be a dead end, right?
It is right now. It's my understanding that with the development eventually of Lee's Trailer Park, it would open up,
Okay.
yeah, and have a way to access all around and out as well. But for now, the only ones going down would be our, the 2 developments. It's not like a through street for people to go anywhere else. So it would just be the residents that are there that would be using that street until it opens up.
I can almost guarantee that the city would never allow that street to open up to that development, at least Trailer Park. They would have to use an alternative exit,
Oh,
entrance off
all
of
right.
Pratt Street onto the Parkway, because the street is so narrow, Green Street is so narrow, it can't handle any traffic.
the city plan showed Green Street, as you know, Frank, going through Lee's Trailer Park, and I think there's a double fence there, if I'm not mistaken. A double opening fence.
Yeah, there is.
I live on Green Street. It used to go through when the developer closed it off with a fence. There were streets there that went through.
It did go through.
It did.
So you think that's gonna become some kind of cul-de-sac? I mean, once you get into Green Street, how do you get out of Green Street?
Same way you do now.
How is that?
If you live there, you have to either do a 3-point turn, or you have a driveway that you pull in and out of.
As far as our development goes, the only ones driving that would be obviously car owners that have parking spaces in the garage. They would be pulling into the garage and pulling out of the garage. They won't be turning around on Green Street.
Are there any other proponents that would like to speak to this tonight? Are you here to speak as a proponent or opponent?
Proponent.
Okay, go right ahead.
Do I need to do any introduce? Okay. My name is Amanda McGordy. I live at 18 Green Street. Really, the only thing I want to put out there is that I would have gone to the ZBA meeting. I honestly thought this was not going to be a big deal because there was no problem with the building across the street, with no concessions and being built right up to the road line, being taller in the shadows, and myself and my husband came to the ZBA and the city council meetings, and nobody had a single problem. The even side of Green Street is part of the Smart Growth Overlay District, which is meant for more, packed housing. And the building across the street tore down a single-family home, provided less proportional parking, does not have affordable housing in it as they're proposing here. And so I think the addition of that affordable housing is something that I think is a notable consideration. I also think that if the ZBA was concerned about this, they should not have approved what was going to be at least trailer park, the building across the street. The space now is really more for multifamily housing, and it also seems appropriate given that's what the zoning is for on the even side of Green Street. That is not the zoning for the opposite side of Green Street where that other building was approved. So I just would say it seems like the intention, if you're gonna create a smart growth overlay district, would be to actually have more dense housing there. And I say this as someone who did a very significant renovation at our house. And so I'm not like, I dislike it or anything there, but I really think the idea that the concerns that were expressed somehow weren't relevant a year ago when they approved this other building seems like something's a little problematic about that. If it is a problem, I don't know really that it is a problem, and it sounds like there's a lot of concessions that, relatively speaking, were not asked to be made for the other building there. So I would just put that information out there for you all.
Proponents, no opponents, close the hearing.
Close the hearing.
Okay. So, consider this project still has two major hurdles to go. They have to go back to the ZBA, hold another public hearing, and get another vote from the ZBA to allow them to go forward to the city council, where there'll be another public hearing for a special permit, what they're calling a planned unit development. So I believe under the state statute for a planning board with 5 or more members, you need all but one vote approval. You don't need unanimous. If it's a planning board with under 5, then you need unanimous. So, it's like, they need 4 out of the 5 votes here to go the next step to ZBA.
I'm looking, just another question. So I would believe, as the council has said, and he reverted this to his letter about 40 units, and I believe it's the planning board's, this is how I interpret what it's supposed to be, a material change, and whether or not 1 unit is a material change in a 28-unit proposal. And looking at setbacks and some of the other things, that I really don't think that it's ready.
If I may, it's not just the 1 unit. It's the 1 unit plus the roof deck, plus the repositioning, plus the a change in the flooring. So it is accumulation of the changes that were made that create the material changes.
I understand that.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm just referencing your letter, Counselor. I mean, if it doesn't, if it's not significant, why mention 40 units? I think that's where you're trying to point us, that the 40 unit is to a 28 is the material change. But what it is that you have an application on 10/16/2025 and 12/31/2005 from 29 to 28. I don't believe that's a material change. So I'd make a motion that the petition be denied.
Can you clarify if the 3 affordable units were part of the initial proposal?
The affordable, is that what you're asking?
The 3 affordable units.
I
were
don't
that-
believe they were initially in the,
They were
in the
not.
site plan review.
Okay,
To be honest, they were agreed to at the ZBA.
okay,
So they said this was the counselors who were there, speaking in favor, said, we generally, as a city council, request the 10% affordable, and we agreed to that at that point.
okay.
And we maintain that.
Thank you.
Frank, how many units are on the building across the street?
I believe 29,
And how many parking spaces?
13. So there's a motion on the table to deny the request to repetition the ZBA. Take a roll call. On the motion to deny, Mr. Abrams?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Costanza is absent. Ms. Hoffman?
I do not support the motion to deny. I'm okay with moving this forward to continue on to the zoning board of appeals in the process.
No denial. Mr. Rivera?
I'll just will say that if you come back and clarify that situation with the 40 units, I think I will support it. If you come back and clarify the 40 units rather than the 29 in writing, because I think that's where the confusion is.
I can submit a detailed chronology of the events that represent where it initially started at site plan review to where we are now.
Right.
I'd be happy to do that.
Okay.
Well, that's correct, because if the planning board is going to allow you to give you consent to repetition, they have to state the number of units that you submitted for. So it would be 29, not the 40. That would be on the record. I will say that case law on this is really vague as far as defining what's a material change. It would not, it could be as little as moving a doorway. And that's all the planning board really has to make a determination on. Is there a material change? So that's, there's no way to, under the law, that describes what a material change is. So it's a difficult position for the planning board. Now, they go on further to say that the change has to be in response to the reason for denial. For instance, if they were denied because there were too many units, and they reduced the number of units, then they made a material change responding to the denial. So, I just leave that out there. Okay, let me, so I have, Mr. Rivera is a no to the denial with, as long as they clarify that not 40 units at 28, it's 29 to 28.
I don't, I don't know where the motion's going. It seems it's either a yes, no, or if you want to make a substitute motion to put it on hold to see where the material change is.
That's
You
true.
can make a substitute motion, but you can't, you gotta vote yes, no, do we have, it has to be one or the other, I think. But you can make a substitute motion.
Sounds like he's asking for the letter to be updated, so it's.
Yeah, so that's a
Yeah, so-
substitute motion.
So I'll put a motion for the letter to be changed. Okay.
He's making a substitute motion.
We have a substitute motion by Mr. Rivera that vote in favor to grant consent to repetition the ZBA, that the letter, upon the letter being revised, that states, instead of the, does not state the 40 units, but states the 29 units to 28 units is the material change.
So he's asking, as I see it, correct me if I'm mistaken, he's asking for a substitute motion for the petitioner to show the significant change from 40 to 28, and then to come back to the board with that. So if he comes up with a letter, we don't automatically approve. There has to be a vote.
Can I just clarify again, that the number of units is not the only material change. If there is a single material change, the planning board can vote in favor. We believe we presented at least 3 very substantial changes. Moving the entire building 5 feet away because of the concern of Green Street was a material change on its own. Adding the roof deck of 1,000 feet on top to give 1,000 feet additional open space is a material change. Reducing the number of units, even by 1 unit, is still a material change. And if you put them all together, I think it's undeniable that we've made material changes and should be allowed to go forward back to the ZBA. So it is not just the 1 unit that is the only material change. As long as there is a single material change, we believe we've given you at least 3.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Mr. Rivera's motion is to set favorable consent to repetition the ZBA based on the material change being that it's from 29 to 28 units rather than 40 to 28 units. Is that correct?
Is that right?
Yeah.
You're asking,
Which would be
Okay,
in the,
all right,
which
sorry.
would be in the planning board's recommendation to the ZBA, or letter of approval to grant consent based on that. That they're not making a determination that the change is from 40 to 28, but from 29 to 28. Is that correct? Okay. Ms. Simmons Hurling, based on the revised motion?
And entirely support Hector's revision here. Oh my, so that would be a no. Right, so we're voting?
No, there's been a new substitute motion. So a yes is in favor of, so it's got to start over again. Mr. Abrams, on the substitute motion,
yes.
yes or no?
Thank you.
So a yes is
Yes.
to grant them consent to repetition.
Yes.
So we have a yes. Mr. Costanza is absent. Ms. Hoffman,
I'm very sorry to make you rehash this, but I'm so sorry. What am I
you're
voting on?
A yes means a vote to grant them consent to repetition the ZBA
Oh, yes,
based on the substitute motion.
yes.
So we have a yes. Mr. Rivera, who made the motion?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Simmons Hurling?
Yes.
Yes. And Mr. Stamatopoulos is absent. Mr. Sullivan?
Yes.
Yes. Unanimous, voted, so ordered. You were given a letter granting consent to repetition the ZBA. And you move on to the public hearing with the ZBA.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go into the regular meeting now. Let's have a vote We just did that. We're going to have nominations for chair, vice chair, and secretary of the planning board for the calendar year 2026. You can make changes, or you can keep the same slate of offices, which is Ms. Simmons Hurling as chair. Is it Mr. Abrams, your vice chair? Who's that?
No, John Stanatopoulos is vice chair.
Oh, Stamatopoulos is vice chair, and Mr. Ramirez is secretary.
Want to swap it up? I'm open to whatever you guys want.
I'll make a motion to keep it as it is, if everybody's okay with it.
Keep the same slate of offices for 2026?
Okay.
All right, on the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none. Keep the slate the same. And the final item is the approval of the previous meeting minutes, which were attached. Motion to approve.
Yes.
All in favor? All opposed? Hearing none. Minutes have been approved. Mr. Rivera, I need your signature on these minutes.
Congratulations.
Planning board meeting is now closed.